All right, it is 1:30. We are going to head off talking about VA IRRRLs, interest rate reduction loans. And it's very important to understand these. But first, I'm Steve. Welcome to Military Money Movement, where we do these weekly in the community. So if you have any questions, please drop them in there. We'll answer them as they come. But really important to understand how the VA IRRRL works and what it is meant to do and like the whole premise of it. And so the way we like to do these, we're going to do a quick about 15-minute teach, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll kind of get into more of the specific questions. Now, so when we get into the VA IRRRL, we get this question a lot right now, and it's very important to understand there's a three-part framework that I use for every refinance. And then specifically, there's VA IRRRL guidance. And so when we're doing that, make sure we're actually looking at the guidance and you know what you're being advised on, because that's where most people get in trouble. They see these mailers coming, the rates appear to be coming down a little bit, but they're loaded up with fees. The break evens are not in your favor. So I really emphasize that you need to like listen to this, watch it to the end, because this is how you're gonna not screw up the VA IRRRL. And you're in control of your own mortgage. So just really remember that. So what I'm going to get into first is the qualifying aspects of the VA IRRRL. Then I'll get into the three-part framework. So make sure you stick around for the three-part framework because that's really the nuts and bolts. But I need everyone to understand what a VA IRRRL is. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to open up the VA Lending Handbook. That's actually where it is. And I think it's best to talk through that because that is where the guidance is. And so, when we hop in there, I'm going to show you what we need to do the VA IRRRL and then how it works. And so the first thing to understand on the VA IRRRL is the it's non-credit qualifying for just the interest rate reduction. However, there's three things in the interest rate reduction. There's a type 1, type 2. But for what I need people to understand is if you're going from a VA fixed rate to a VA fixed rate, so you got a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage last year at six, we'll say 7%, and you're going to get another VA fixed, it has to be a 0.5 reduction of your current rate. Okay. If you're going from a fixed rate to an ARM, adjustable rate mortgage, so last year you got a 7% rate, and then now you're going to go to an ARM. Sometimes they can be a little more lower. You actually need 2-point reduction in your mortgage rate. So that'd be a 7 to a 5% if you're going fixed to an ARM. Now, if you're going from an ARM to a fix, so last year you did a VA IRRRL purchase, you can go to a fixed on any rate. It doesn't have to be the 0.5 or it does not have to be the 2 points from a fixed to an ARM. So if you're going ARM to a fixed rate, you're good. You don't need the requirement. Okay, the other section I'm going to talk about is you need this kind of changed. I don't know when it changed, a couple of years ago, maybe, or maybe that's how it always was, but it's 210 days from the first mortgage payment. So whenever you do your mortgage, let's say you close a loan in, August 20th, you close it. Your first payment right now is going to be October 1st. It's 210 days from October 1st and 6 consecutive mortgage payments is when you're eligible to do a VA IRRRL. It's not 210 days from your closing date. That's where it throws people off. So it's 210 days from your first mortgage payment due date and 6 consecutive payments. And when I say 6 consecutive payments, why that's important is during COVID, they had some relief to where you could like skip a payment here or there and they put it on the back end of your loan, all a bunch of weird stuff that knocked out a lot of people. So it's 6 consecutive payments. Now, we're only talking about VA IRRRLs. There's a whole different chapter on the VA cash out, but I'm going to show you guys what I just talked about in the VA lending handbook. Very important to get the data from the right source because you need to see it. And that's where everyone gets in trouble is you have a bunch of people talking all over the internet. So I will show you the section. All right, let's share the screen. Just got a new computer, have to allow the settings. There we go. All right. All right, here we go. And we're blow this up. All right. So you should be, let's, okay. So we get in the VA Earl, and this is what it's important. It's a type one, right? And so this is what I want to show people and make sure you understand it because you got to see, I can talk all day long, but I want y'all to see it. So here we go on the loan seasoning, VA to VA, type one, right there. So it's the first monthly payment due date of the guaranteed loan being financed 210 days or more from that, okay? In six consecutive payments. Very important to understand. If you don't have the six payments, it's not going to work. Now, you can still lock inside that window. You just can't execute the VA IRRRL until those requirements are met. And it even talks about here, type 1 seasoning, right? So first payment, May 1st, six consecutive payments from there, 210 days. So that'd be November 27th on this example. So that's the first thing we need to see. I want to show you guys in here. The next one is net tangible benefits. Okay, whenever we're doing this, we have to make sure it benefits the veteran. And this is the requirement that they will actually be going through. And and that's the important part to understand. So the first step is the net tangible benefits. We're going to go fixed to fixed, okay? Fixed to ARM, remember it's 2 points. ARM to fixed, you don't need anything. And then we have to make sure it satisfies the residual income on the back end. And more importantly, there's a benefit to the veteran. So we have shown you that now. And like I said, I want people to understand you really need to see that because that's what's going to actually allow you to do the refinance, regardless of who you use. Okay, three-part framework. Now we're actually going to get into the refinance framework. This is Steve Tun's personal kind of metrics I go through when I speak to clients, when I recommend refinance to people. And it's very simple. And I try to just keep it very simple for people. So in this framework, you need to understand step one, are we going to be in the house for greater than 24 months or do we have a financial need that we need to take care of? For example, if you have a financial need you need to take care of, then we need to take care of that need, i.e., we have a debt issue, we have something we need to fix. Okay, 24 months, why do I say it? There's a cost to refinance. Even though you won't come out of pocket, you will eat equity of your house by doing this. For example, it might cost, let's just say $10,000 to do the refinance. We're just using it as a simple term. I'm not saying that's what it'll be. So $10,000. Let's say you only save, I'm putting my calculator, 10,000. Let's say you save $300 a month. Okay. That's a 33-month break even. So what that means is if you sell that house prior to you getting a break even of your cash out refinance, then you're essentially losing money. And so you need to look at it through the lens of the mortgage payment and then what's my balance going to do? And I always recommend looking at it in those lenses because if you don't, you end up refinancing, you save money on the front end, and then you lose it on the back end because you have to sell it. Okay, that's step one of the refinance framework. The second step is custom loan terms can be done on VA loans. A lot of people don't realize this. So you can go from a 30-year to a 28-year. Don't lose the 1 year of amortization because if you do, you're resetting back to 30. Thus, the entirety of your the principal and interest reset. So what I like to advise people on, and when I talk to them, is saying, hey, if you like your payment, let's reduce your rate from a 7 to a 6, and the difference of that let's say $300, you might be able to go down to a 25-year mortgage or a 24-year mortgage. And what that allows you to do is you're shaving years off your mortgage when your payment stays the same. So you're actually kind of converting the monthly savings and just shortening the term. And it's a great strategy. And that way, if the rates come down a little bit more or they go up, you're guaranteed savings because you've already reduced the total loan amount with principal and interest because the interest has been reduced now. So I just say that's the second thing. Look at custom terms. Now, if you don't want that and you want to reset it, that's when you get the maximum monthly payment reduction, but it's a good consideration. And the third thing, and this is actually where a lot of money is made at. And I really want to emphasize with people the money you'll make by doing this third step is at year 2 and 3 is usually when home insurance policies can increase. So I always say it's a good time to review your home insurance policy, not only for the valuation of your home, but it's a good time to say, hey, let's review our insurances. So review your insurances if you can. Sometimes they bump up 20, 30%. Sometimes you might have done a new roof. You did something to your house that will reduce your actual home insurance cost. So this is a great time to do it. And then the second part of that is it's a great time to do monthly budgeting. And I say keep it very simple. But most people, as inflation goes up, you have inflation creep, you kind of start spending with inflation. So it's a good time to review your home insurance policy and your monthly budget. And those two things actually will start saving you some money. So maybe if 1 and 2, maybe I'm not gonna be in this house for 24 months. Hey, let's work on the budgeting and let's work on the home insurance. That's a good way to save it. So that's the three-part framework on the like, are we gonna be in for 24 months or do we have a financial issue we have to address? Number 2 is a custom term, bring it into consideration. And number 3 is your home insurance policy slash monthly budgeting. So a lot of information thrown at everyone, but I'm just going to recap from the beginning. So this is for VA IRRRLs, interest rate reduction loans. Okay. So if you're going to go from a fixed rate to a fixed rate, okay, you need a 0.5 reduction off of the original VA loan. If you're going fixed to an ARM, you need 2 points off the original one, which means if you have a 7% fixed VA, then reduction would have to be a 5% on a VA ARM. Okay. Also with that is if you're going ARM to fixed, there is no reduction in your interest rate. Okay. That's on the VA IRRRL, 210 days from your first note date. We have to keep that 6 consecutive mortgage payments. Okay. That we understand that. Now we need to refresh the 3-part framework for the refinance. The first one is 24 months or financial situation we're going to address. The second thing is, custom terms. Make sure you think about it. Okay. And the third is review your home insurance policy and some simple budgeting. We have a lot of great budgeting here. I love budgeting. I love helping people, veterans, airline pilots. Keep them coming. Anyhow, hope you guys are having a great day. And VA IRRRL, here's the quick and dirty of what you need to know.